The vast years were like a flowing river, never to return. Unknowingly, Hanju's age had reached 240 million years old. His cultivation level had increased again. This feeling was really good. Hanju habitually checked his emails. Your good friend Zhao Shuangquan was cursed by a mysterious curse. Your enemy, the 9th Chaos Soul Fragment, has suffered damage to his cultivation. Your son Han Huang has absorbed the supreme rules and his cultivation has increased greatly. Your disciple Ji Xianshan is lost in the river of space-time. Your good friend, the formless transcendent deity, was attacked by a transcendent existence. Your good friend Huang Zuantian has absorbed the nebulous primordial qi and his soul has begun to transform. Your good friend Chaotic Consciousness has created a great creation. His providence has increased greatly. These years were not as chaotic as before. The chaos began to rest after experiencing the calamity of the ultimate evil chaotic devils. Hanju seemed to have returned to the time when the heavenly Tao restarted. Hanju patiently checked his emails. Then, he looked outside the Taoist temple. Some disciples left the Tao field. To them, listening to Hanju's lecture was worth it. The 9 divine stars and Shani were cultivating in the Taoist temple. Hanju was very satisfied with their attitude. The ultimate origin world was temporarily safe. Even if the Tao creators saw the ultimate origin world's potential, it was still far inferior to the chaos, and it was close to the chaos. The ultimate origin world's fate would definitely be the same as the consciousnessless, transcendent, and Tian worlds as long as it collided with the chaos. Hanju shifted his gaze to the chaos. He suddenly raised his eyebrows. Dark Forbidden Lord. Countless Dark Forbidden Lords actually appeared in the chaos. There were also many factions claiming to be the Dark Forbidden Lord. The Heavenly Tao Darkness sect that had disappeared back then also reappeared. What happened? Hanju began to deduce, and his expression became strange. It was actually the 9 extremes orthodoxy. Zhao Shuangquan, who had reincarnated the 8th chaos memories, Yu Yuan, who had inherited the first chaotic will, and the 9-headed divine spirit actually declared that they believed in the Dark Forbidden Lord and even wantonly beautified him as if he was a savior. Hanju was dumbfounded. What kind of method was this? What kind of idea was this? He deduced seriously, and the more he deduced, the stranger his expression became. They actually want to use the Dark Forbidden Lord to resist me? How arrogant. Zhao Shuangquan still had a good impression of him, but he was already prepared to guard against him. Could it be that he thought Hanju would make a move if he fought Han Huang to death? Hanju put himself in Zhao Shuangquan's shoes. He indeed had to be wary of this level. If it were him, he wouldn't place his hopes on the other party not fighting with the juniors. However, the 9th chaos did not instruct Zhao Shuangquan. Was he most afraid of the Dark Forbidden Lord now? Hanju had no intention of interfering. He naturally wouldn't stop them from beautifying him. Zhao Shuangquan would have wasted his efforts as long as he ignored him. Hanju looked at the Creation Emperor Court of the Transcendent Domain. Han Huang and Han Ling had also been very well behaved during this period of time, especially Han Huang. He was probably too stimulated by the ultimate evil chaotic devil. In addition, the formless transcendent deity. To Hanju, he observed Han Huang. This kid was already a unique existence below. The creation and construction of the Great Tao world took a long time. This was also why there were only 5 Tao creators since ancient times. Hanju was different. His system was the greatest creation. His great Tao world had begun to take form a long time ago, and his physique far exceeded the primordial fiend celestial. I wonder when the next Tao creator will appear and who it will be. Hanju thought curiously. He didn't use the system's derivation function. It was more interesting to leave some unknowns. A new Tao creator could not threaten him. After that, Hanju closed his eyes and continued his seclusion. He wanted to see if he could reach the perfected Tao creator realm before turning 300 million years old. In a vast world, the sky was like jade. The undulating mountains formed a natural chasm in the sky. On the top of a huge peak sat a Tao palace. A plaque hung on the door with 3 words printed on it. Purple Firmament Palace. Thousands of cultivators in Taoist robes meditated in the palace, facing the same direction. Hongjun sat at the head of the table. He had white hair and an indifferent expression. His entire body emitted an extraordinary aura. A Taoist asked, "Teacher, now that the great Tao immeasurable calamity is about to descend, the ultimate evil chaotic devil slaughtered countless people in the chaos previously. It's already a calamity. What's the true great Tao immeasurable calamity?" All the Tao seekers in Purple Firmament Palace looked at Hongjun. Hongjun was the Tao ancestor's reincarnation, and he had preached the Tao for 100 million years. He was already famous. In the eyes of these Tao seekers, Hongjun was already a chaos expert who had attained the Tao and stood at the peak. Hongjun replied, "The great Tao immeasurable calamity can't be predicted, but it will definitely be the most difficult calamity ever. You should be thinking about when it will descend. That will only increase your worries. With our potential, how many years will it take us to catch up to the ultimate evil chaotic devil? The entire chaos was almost destroyed. What can we do?" In the chaos, the 9 extremes orthodoxy, the creation emperor court, the northern chaos, and the Tao-addled sect are the strongest. However, it's very difficult for us to join them. Sigh. I suddenly feel that cultivation is meaningless. We can't change anything. No, no! Fellow Taoists, you still have to have faith. You might not be able to do it alone, but what if there are 10,000, a million, or even billions? Hongjun did not interrupt their discussion. After a long time, after all the Tao seekers lost interest, the Purple Firmament Palace quietened down. Their gazes landed on Hongjun again. They could only rely on this person in front of them. Those legendary chaotic mighty figures were too far away from them. Hongjun said slowly, "I've experienced several great Tao immeasurable calamities. Although this immeasurable calamity will be far greater than before, don't worry, I'll take action. All of you can cultivate well in the Purple Firmament Palace. There might be a chance." The Tao seekers looked at each other. Many of them smiled. This was the guarantee of Hongjun's protection. A clap sounded at this moment. All the Tao seekers turned around and saw a figure walking through the door of the Purple Firmament Palace. This figure was extremely majestic and had disheveled hair. He emitted a great power as he walked. Hongjun narrowed his eyes and asked, "Why are you here?" "He was Pango." Hongjun narrowed his eyes and said, "All of you, leave. I have something to talk about with this old friend." The disciples of Purple Firmament Palace were evacuated, leaving only Pango and Hongjun. The Heavenly Tao's founder and the Heavenly Tao's strengthener met. The atmosphere was subtle. Pango stopped less than 100 feet away and said, "You should know why I'm here." Hongjun said, "I know what you want, but that thing is not in my possession. Otherwise, I wouldn't have left the heavenly Tao. Pangu stared at him. What about the jade slip of creation? It must have absorbed the heavenly Tao's transcendent rule. It's precisely because there is no transcendent rule that the heavenly Tao has intelligence. The only one who can snatch it is you. Hongjun shook his head. The chaos invaded the heavenly Tao many times during my Tao integration. The heavenly Tao was damaged several times. My cultivation level in the past was insufficient and I didn't know about the transcendent rule. Hongjun was fearless. Killing intent began to fill the purple firmament palace. Even the swaying candlelight stopped moving. The atmosphere was oppressive. Hongjun said, it's not feasible to walk the path of the great Tao world after attaining creation. Transcendent, consciousnessless, and Shurtion have already been devoured by the chaos. We should think of another way. Pangu asked, what other way? Hongjun stared at him and said, snatching the karma of the calamity and creating the chaos creation. Pangu frowned. We have always fought for the present and rules, but there are not only rules in the world, nor are there only the present, Hongjun said slowly. He stood up and said, Pangu, you are the heavenly Tao's ancestor and I am the heavenly Tao's Tao ancestor. We will have a chance of survival if we join forces. I will be killed by the Tao creator once I appear in my true body. It's useless even if I take your transcendent rule. Pangu asked, you want to walk the path of the chaos? Hongjun said, no. Compared to the primordial chaos, the chaos is about the perfection of rules. If we want to replace we can absorb the chaos Providence and create a new creation. If we can create a race that unites everything and overturn everything with the chaos creation. The chaos can't stop it even if it wants to. Hongjun's words were powerful, causing Pangu's brows to gradually spread. Pangu asked, if that's the case, how can the chaos let this race grow up? Hongjun said, I'm looking for a supreme treasure that can change karma and providence. We'll make this race pretend to be unstoppable before revealing its true identity. All these years, my soul has been scattered everywhere looking for this treasure. I will continue to search, while you inspect the heavenly Tao race. Choose one. Pangu thought for a moment and nodded in agreement. Hongjun looked at him and saw the deep meaning in each other's eyes. 10 million years later, Honju, who was now 250 million years old, opened his eyes. He suddenly disappeared and his main body appeared in the ultimate origin world. The ultimate origin world had been expanding. As it became stronger, it flew faster and faster towards the chaos. The pressure of the chaos on the great Tao world was too strong, but luckily, the ultimate origin world was sufficiently far away. Not to mention the ultimate origin world, even the purity great Tao world was some time away from colliding with the chaos. Honju stood at the peak of the ultimate origin world and looked down. The 7 supreme rules were above the 3,000 great Tao of ultimate origin. Under Honju's gaze, a new supreme rule was about to be born. There were only 7 supreme rules in each great Tao world: karma, providence, slaughter, creation, destiny, reincarnation, and spacetime. Perhaps there were differences, but they were probably the same, especially karma, providence, and creation. These 3 supreme rules were the core. Honju was curious about what the ultimate origin world's 8th supreme rule was going to be. This new supreme rule was already about to be born before he appeared, so he did not have to wait long. The 8th supreme rule was actually the Devour rule. It was very similar to Honju's great Tao of Devour but was even more advanced. The ultimate origin world could devour other great Tao worlds with this supreme rule. Could it be that one of the supreme rules of The chaos was devouring, so it could devour those great Tao worlds? Didn't this mean that the ultimate origin world was about to catch up to the chaos? However, the ultimate origin world was still approaching the chaos, which meant that its power was stronger. Otherwise, it would be the chaos approaching the ultimate origin world. Hanju watched for a while. He left after the 8th Supreme Rule stabilized. He did not return to the Tao field. Instead, he wandered in the blank domain. After leaving the blank domain, he stopped and said, "Show yourself." With that, a figure appeared behind him. Hanju looked over. It was a figure he had never seen before. Tao Creator. Could it be the most mysterious Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity? Hanju immediately used the simulation trial. Test. Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity, mid-stage Tao Creator, chaotic deity, blank guardian, ancestor of terror, transcends the chaos and exists in eternal spacetime. Indeed, it's him. Hanju asked, "What do you want?" The Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity was surrounded by black and white chi. The chi turned into mist, and his body looked very small, but his aura was very strong. "I want to see how strong you, a junior, are. You're so strong that that existence thinks you're second." The Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity snorted. Second place? This was killing him with flattery. Hanju asked, "I naturally can't be second." "Who said that? Want a curse?" "Ninth chaos." The Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity smiled. His tone was a little strange. Hanju remained silent. That was not flattery, but instigation. Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity, find a place to spar? The aftermath of a Tao Creator level fight would be terrifying. It would definitely affect the chaos and the other great Tao worlds. Hanju said, "Lead the way." In any case, he had already split his will. He could revive even if he died. Tao creators could only spar and not kill each other. Perhaps after Hanju became a creator lord, he could decide the life and death of Tao creators. The Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity turned around and left. Hanju followed closely behind. Just as they left, the chaotic consciousness, the formless transcendent deity, and the immeasurable destruction venerable appeared. TSK, they are indeed going to fight. Who will win? It's hard to say. Purity Nirvana is always in seclusion. He fought against the chaos back then. He must be stronger now. Indeed, his aura shocked me. However, the Divine Might Heavenly Sage is not simple either. His aura is ethereal no matter when we look at him. He doesn't look strong, but we can't see through him. This means that the difference between us is extremely great. The three Tao creators began to discuss. They weren't sure who would win. Hanju entered the depths of the blank domain under Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity's lead. This place was far from the chaos, the ultimate origin world, and the purity great Tao world. Even if the Tao creators fought here, the other ways would find it very difficult to threaten the various great Tao worlds. It was really too far. It would take tens of thousands of years for a great Tao Supreme to rush over. Hanju activated all his supreme treasures and distanced himself from the Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity. He agreed to this battle to intimidate the ninth chaos. Recently, many chaotic spies had appeared in the ultimate origin world, including cultivators from the nine extremes orthodoxy. There had to be a conspiracy behind this. Although the ultimate origin world was inferior to the chaos, Hanju was not afraid of the ninth chaos. He had already reached the late-stage Tao Creator realm and the ninth chaos was injured by his curse. He could still resist even if he couldn't insta-kill him. In any case, the ninth chaos was already filled with hatred towards him. Showing his strength appropriately was also a deterrent. The black and white chi around the yin-yang purity nirvana deity began to spread. It quickly circled around a scene of the great Tao world, as if chaos had descended into this pale void. Let me see how powerful the second Tao creator is. The yin-yang purity nirvana deity smiled, his tone filled with disdain. This fellow was so arrogant. Hanju frowned. Logically speaking, a Tao creator shouldn't have such a bearing. Could it be that the other party was deliberately provoking him to see what he was capable of? It seemed that the yin-yang purity nirvana deity and the ninth chaos were closer than he had imagined. Otherwise, the ninth chaos wouldn't have let the yin-yang purity nirvana deity attain the mid-stage Tao creator realm. Hanju didn't say anything and directly used ultimate origin soul oblivion. 7 blades of divine punishment appeared around him. The 7 red blades surrounded his body. Sometimes, they grew longer, and sometimes shorter. A terrifying sharp aura surged towards yin-yang purity nirvana deity. At first glance, yin-yang purity nirvana deity knew that this mystical power was extremely piercing and could not be blocked. Yin-yang purity nirvana deity's body suddenly dissipated. The black and white mist surged violently towards Hanju from all directions. It had the domineering aura of devouring the world and of being unstoppable. Hanju's eyes narrowed. 7 divine punishment light blades suddenly swept in all directions. Their speed was so fast that countless afterimages could be seen. It was as if they split into billions of light blades and forcefully dispersed the black and white mist. The black and white mist that covered nearly half of the blank domain was instantly dispersed, leaving only a trace of remnant chi. Yin-yang purity nirvana deity suddenly appeared behind Hanju. A hand covered in strange Tao patterns stretched out. In an instant, a black and white vortex appeared behind Hanju, as if space was distorted and wanted to disperse his body. Swish! A divine punishment light blade attacked and tore apart the yin-yang purity nirvana deity and the black and white vortex. Hanju couldn't be bothered to turn around. He was invincible once the ultimate origin soul oblivion was activated. The yin-yang purity nirvana deity kept moving and appearing. Every time he appeared, he would be found by the ultimate origin soul oblivion and destroyed time and time again. However, he persevered and tried his best to find a flaw. This scene shocked the 3 Tao creators in the distance. What mystical power is that? It's not as simple as speed. The enemy will immediately be attacked when they appear. It feels like karma. The divine might heavenly sage's mystical power is very strong. I'm inferior. Hanju and the yin-yang purity nirvana deity knew about the 3 Tao creators watching the battle, but they didn't care. Since the yin-yang purity nirvana deity dared. As for Hanju, he felt that he wouldn't lose. The yin-yang purity nirvana deity appeared again. He spread his arms, and black and white chi surged out. Hanju's vision instantly turned black and white. When the black and white became clear and various colors surged into his vision, he was pulled into the cycle of reincarnation. The experiences of reincarnation appeared in front of him. He was like a spectator watching himself undergo reincarnation. Hanju snorted. Child's play. With that, the cycle of reincarnation shattered, and his vision returned to a blank domain. The yin-yang void destruction deity appeared in front of him. He held a bone staff in his left hand as he forcefully blocked the ultimate origin soul oblivion. He formed a seal with his right hand. The square shape had the profundity of the ultimate origin heaven seal as it collided with Hanju. This time, the yin-yang purity nirvana deity succeeded. Hanju was struck by the mysterious seal. His soul suffered an impact and was forcefully forced out of his body. Hanju looked over. His body was 1,000 feet away. What a domineering mystical power. Even I, a late-stage Tao creator, can't resist it. Hanju thought in surprise. However, this was the only thing impressive about it. Even if his soul and body were separated, the yin-yang purity nirvana deity could not withstand the ultimate origin soul oblivion. The mysterious bone staff blocked the ultimate origin heaven seal once and was scattered the second time. Hanju smiled as his soul shrank into his body. The yin-yang purity nirvana deity split into countless clones that covered a radius of billions of kilometers. There were countless of them, and they all attacked Hanju. 7 divine punishment light blades swept back and forth, destroying one yin-yang purity nirvana deity after another. At this moment, a yin-yang purity nirvana deity in the distance raised his arms and shook the dermic powers in his body. He actually tore a hole in the blank domain. This hole was black, and strange white lightning interwove within. Spatial power. This spatial crack was not torn apart by the blank domain, but an alternate space had descended into it. Hanju saw the truth at a glance. He was about to attack when the hole suddenly expanded and quickly devoured him. Yin-yang purity nirvana deity and Hanju fell into the endless spatial vortex at the same time. Yin-yang purity nirvana deity was still constantly attacking him. He still persevered even though he was destroyed by the ultimate origin soul oblivion countless times. Hanju relied on his supreme treasures and the ultimate origin soul oblivion and was not injured at all. On the other hand, the yin-yang purity nirvana deity had already been destroyed tens of millions of times, but he was not affected because he was a Tao creator. The surrounding space reversed and a spatial torrent appeared above Hanju's head. Billions of stars entered his eyes. In an instant, Hanju suddenly landed on a piece of land. The galaxy hung upside down in the sky, and the ground under his feet was endlessly barren. Yin-yang purity nirvana deity descended at the end of the horizon. With a wave of his sleeve, black and white chi condensed into a terrifying beam of light that shot over. The mountains along the way shattered and the ground was severed. A divine punishment light blade dispersed the black and white light. Yin-yang void destruction deity appeared above Hanju's head. Yin-yang purity nirvana deity raised his right hand. Countless stars of different sizes appeared in his palm. He threw them down. The stars suddenly expanded the moment his body was destroyed by the ultimate origin soul, as if countless real stars were raining down. Some were 100 million times larger than the sun, dense and mighty. Hanju looked up, and 2 sword chi shot out from his eyes. The sword chi soared into the sky. In an instant, countless sword chi interwove in this strange world, slicing the terrifying starry rain into dust. The ground under Hanju's feet collapsed at this moment. The soil and rocks dissipated like smoke. Endless magma appeared below. Scorching air rose and burned until space distorted and collapsed. A mysterious suction force pulled him down. The suction force in the endless magma was very strong. Ordinary Tao creators might not be able to block it, but it was like the power of a child to Hanju. He remained calm and didn't move. His gaze landed on the constantly destroyed and reborn yin-yang purity nirvana deity. Is that all you're capable of? Hanju asked. As soon as he finished speaking, this strange world shattered like a mirror and endless darkness attacked. Yin-yang purity nirvana deity appeared again and continued to cast spells, pulling Hanju into the river of destiny. The endless river of destiny occupied the entire dark void. Hanju looked at the river of destiny as he resisted Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity's attack. He saw the reincarnation of his children and disciples, saw those old friends who had already died still struggling in the mortal world. He even saw his future friends turn against each other and fight to the death. Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity followed the river of destiny and attacked. Countless dermic powers arrows broke through the water surface and shot at Hanju. The arrows were long and each carried a spatial line. The monstrous Providence in a spatial line condensed on their arrows, causing them all to erupt with terrifying power. Hanju's eyes narrowed. The ultimate origin heaven seal suddenly appeared and blocked all the arrows. The Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity had just been reborn when the ultimate origin soul Oblivion was pulled over by a terrifying suction force. His soul and body were directly stuck to it. An invisible force sealed him, making him unable to move. How can this be? The Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity was shocked. He wanted to kill his body and revive, but he could not. His soul and dermic powers were all imprisoned. He looked at Hanju in disbelief. Hanju walked over on the endless and majestic river of destiny. The Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity was a little stunned by his figure. In a daze, the Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity recalled the scene when he challenged the ninth chaos. It was the same then. No matter how many times he was reborn, he could not hurt the ninth chaos and was finally suppressed. However, that was because he had yet to break through. Now that he had already surpassed the Tao creator and taken a huge step forward, he thought he would be calm even if he faced the ninth chaos again. However, reality gave him a warning. Hanju's strength made him feel helpless. From the battle until now, only dozens of breaths of time had passed for mortals, but he had already died hundreds of millions of times. If not for the fact that the Tao creator would not die, he would not be Hanju's match at all. Was this the strength of the second strongest Tao creator? The Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity gritted his teeth and struggled with all his might. Hanju was expressionless. The divine light emitted by the supreme treasure on his body covered his face. Even the Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity couldn't see his expression. Is it just a spar? Hanju's voice sounded softly, but it was filled with endless killing intent. He wanted to force the Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity to bow his head. The Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity was angry. What? You want to kill me? Do you have the ability? Hanju raised his right hand, and the 8th Divine Punishment Light Blade appeared. The previous 7 Great Divine Punishment Light Blades represented the 7 Supreme Rules of the Ultimate Origin World. Now that the 8th Supreme Rule had been born, his Ultimate Origin Soul Oblivion also gave birth to a new power. Devouring Power. Hanju said, I can't kill you, but I can devour your Great Tao World and your Transcendent Rule, making you my slave forever. The Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity panicked. The ninth chaos treated the other 3 Tao creators like this. The reason why he survived was that he had begged the ninth chaos for mercy. He was like an ant begging the heavens for mercy. It was a humiliation buried deep in the Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity's heart. Even the other 3 Tao creators did not know about this. A Tao creator was actually so shameless. The Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity was furious. As he recalled that traumatic scene, he couldn't do it a second time. The furious Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity emitted a terrifying aura. The black and white chi actually transformed into a scarlet murderous aura. His black and white body also turned blood red. It seemed like he was about to explode. Hanju felt bored and couldn't be bothered to delay. 8 Divine Punishment Light Blades attacked the Yin-Yang Purity Nirvana deity nailed to the Ultimate Origin Heaven Seal. Boom! The yin-yang purity nirvana deity was instantly dispersed and his body and soul were destroyed. The 8 divine punishment light blades did not continue to move. Instead, they emitted a 7-colored light and condensed the yin-yang purity nirvana deity's soul in the divine punishment light blade. Then, it ate and devoured it. Blank domain. The chaotic consciousness, the formless transcendent deity, and the immeasurable destruction venerable looked at Hanju walking over with mixed emotions. Hanju seemed to be strolling in the courtyard, but every step was very fast. He arrived in front of them in a few steps. Where's the yin-yang purity nirvana deity? The chaotic consciousness asked. Hanju said, fellow Taoist yin-yang sparred with me to a draw and left. They were on par? The 3 Tao creators almost lost there. The battle between the 2 Tao creators was like a sage fighting a mortal. Yin-yang purity nirvana deity couldn't hurt Hanju no matter what he did. The difference? They felt despair just from the yin-yang purity nirvana deity's perspective. The immeasurable destruction venerable couldn't help but ask, what happened just now? Is the yin-yang purity nirvana deity dead? The chaotic consciousness said firmly, impossible. A Tao creator won't die. There's only one possibility. He escaped and doesn't dare to pester anymore. The formless transcendent deity nodded. They could live until today because of the Tao creator's indestructible trait. 3rd Tao field. The 9 divine stars in Shani were chased out of the Taoist temple. They didn't have any. Hanju sat on the lotus throne and silently used the ultimate origin heavenly prison. In front of him stood a divine punishment light blade, which contained the yin-yang purity nirvana deity's will. The Devourer Supreme Rule was actually so powerful. No wonder the 9th chaos could subdue other Tao creators. This supreme rule should not be as simple as devouring. It was only because it seemed to devour the great Tao that Hanju gave it such a name. This supreme rule would be born naturally in the great Tao world after one reached the late-stage Tao creator realm. It was really powerful. After being trapped by the Devourer Supreme Power, although the Tao creator would not die, his consciousness would not be able to escape. His connection with his other clones and will was even severed. This gave Hanju a chance to use the ultimate origin heavenly prison. Can the mid-stage Tao creator be enslaved by the ultimate origin heavenly prison? Hanju asked in his mind. Yes, but it will take a long time. Hanju's eyes lit up. Fortunately, he had upgraded the primordial heavenly prison back then. Otherwise, it might still be useless against a Tao creator. As for how long it would take, Hanju didn't care at all. What he did not lack the most was time. The 9th chaos sent you a dream. Do you accept? A notification suddenly appeared in front of him. Hanju hesitated. He knew what the 9th chaos was here for. Can I subdue the 9th chaos like I subdued the yin-yang purity nirvana deity? Hanju asked silently. 50 quadrillion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. No. Can I defeat the 9th chaos? 50 quadrillion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. Yes. Hanju was not surprised. He had already thought so. He wanted to confirm it just to be sure. The 9th chaos sent you a dream. Do you want to continue? Again. Hanju hesitated for a moment but still chose to accept it. The dream was a blank domain. Hanju saw the 9th chaos. It was still so mysterious and didn't seem to be affected by the curse or mental demons. The 9th chaos asked, Where's the yin-yang purity nirvana deity? Let him go. Hanju said, I sparred with him and we felt like old friends at first sight. I invited him to my Dao field as a guest. Barge into my Dao field if you have the ability. He believed that the ninth chaos had once thought of barging into the Dao field, but he failed. Then let him out first. I have something to tell him, ninth chaos said forcefully. Hanju said, no, we'll talk about it after some time. The dream fell silent. Hanju could feel the ninth chaos aura fluctuating. It seemed that the mental demon's appearance caused him to no longer be as calm as before. Hanju wasn't in a hurry and let the ninth chaos steam. In terms of pressure, the ninth chaos should be the greatest, because he was about to lose his authority. The dream shattered. Hanju opened his eyes and his expression became subtle. It seemed that the ninth chaos had not lost his mind. The ninth chaos was probably waiting for the endless era to arrive before forcefully. Hanju couldn't deal with him either. He couldn't kill the ninth chaos or even suppress. Their battle would be endless. They still had to be wary of each other and couldn't even cultivate in peace. The current situation was the best choice for both sides. Next, it depended on who broke through. Earlier, Hanju slowly closed his eyes and continued cultivating. As for the yin-yang purity nirvana deity, he was still sealed in the ultimate origin soul oblivion waiting to be enslaved. A huge crimson star landed in the lonely void. A mysterious red mist filled the surroundings. In the star, the ground was barren, but it was dotted with lakes of different sizes. The lake's surface was frozen, contrasting with the seemingly scorching ground. A naked human youth landed on all fours like a monkey. He only had a trouser dress made of beast skin tied around his waist. His hair was disheveled and his face was dirty. His eyes were murky like dust. The human youth looked extremely tiny under the sky, like an ant wandering aimlessly, lonely and desolate. After an unknown period of time, the human youth was tired. He stopped at the edge of a small lake and began to lick the frozen surface with his tongue. Soon, his tongue stuck to the ice and he subconsciously retracted it. Blood surged from the wound that formed and he rolled back in pain. The blood landed on the ice and burned a huge hole. Immediately after, the entire surface of the lake began to melt. Mist rose. The human youth did not notice this scene. He was covering his mouth and rolling on the ground in pain. After the pain subsided, he slowly turned around. However, the scene in front of him left him stunned. The surface of the lake was shimmering. A refreshing breeze blew over, making him feel refreshed. The human youth immediately rushed over and sprawled in the river by the lake. He wolfed down the food until his hair was wet. At this moment, a voice sounded, "You came by foot. What do you want?" The human youth suddenly looked up and saw a white-haired old man standing at the side, stroking his beard and smiling. It was the leader of the nether race, Hanyu. The human youth squeaked and danced excitedly. Hanyu smiled and asked, "You want to seek the Tao? You want to fly into the sky and enter the ground?" The human youth nodded desperately. Hanyu sized him up and sighed. "I didn't expect an existence like you to be born in the ultimate origin world. I'll give you the title of human race ancestor." Human ancestor? The human youth did not understand, but he felt that it was a good thing and was even happier. He began to circle around Hanyu. Sometimes, he scratched his ears and cheeks, and sometimes, he pulled his pants and belt. Han Yu waved his sleeve, and a beam of light surged into the human youth's forehead. The human youth froze. He returned to his senses after a long time. He looked at Han Yu and asked, "Are you very powerful? Can you fly and break through the ground?" Clearly, he had seen how powerful the cultivators of the ultimate origin world were. Han Yu smiled. "Of course, I can. I can teach you." "Really? You can be considered determined to have walked here, but I hope that you can seriously consider the meaning of your existence during your cultivation," Han Yu said seriously. The human youth seemed to understand. Han Yu sighed upon seeing how simple he was. This was the first person in the ultimate origin world. In the heavenly Tao, the human race was fabricated by Niwa, but this youth was a natural product of the ultimate origin world. The human youth had no parents. He was born at the bottom of a lake and had absorbed millions of years of heaven and earth spirit chi. His body was different from ordinary people, but he did not know how to use his dermic powers at all. Han Yu held the human youth's hand and walked into the distance. "From now on, your name is Jui." All right. I have a name too. Call me Master from now on." "Master." "Good disciple." "Master, where are you bringing me? How can I fly?" "You'll know in the future." 10 million years later, Han Chu opened his eyes and looked at the ultimate origin soul oblivion in front of him. The yin-yang purity nirvana deity had yet to be successfully enslaved, as expected of a mid-stage Tao creator. However, he could wait no matter how long it took. Hanju started to check his emails. Through space and time and the river of destiny, absorbing the power of space and time, never returning to the chaos. Ji Xianshan had fallen in the past and future. He had once challenged Laozi's past self, but the present Laozi had crossed space and time and almost killed him. As for why he didn't kill him, it was probably because of Hanju. From now on, Ji Xianshan didn't dare to do anything in the past. At most, he would go and absorb power. As for the future, Ji Xianshan did not dare to act recklessly. Hanju was still looking forward to Ji Xianshan's experience. He also wanted to see if there was an example of his disciples relying on themselves to rise. Although the spirit chi in the Tao field was very abundant, cultivation had to rely on one's own creation after reaching the great Tao sage realm. It was not something that could be achieved through bitter cultivation. Hanju sensed Ji Xianshan's dermic powers and saw that he was almost catching up to Tao. Sovereign,